Hey everybody, today I have a knife sale video. I just have to make some room in my collection to basically get more knives. I love all of these knives and I really want to hold on to them because, well, for various reasons. Here I have an Emerson collection, I'd like to keep that. Here I can not afford a real JB Stout, so I'd love to keep that just to have the design around. I have a slip joint collection. I'd like to keep that for to keep everything rounded out. And of course I love Tops knives, which you haven't seen too many of my Tops knives yet, but I'd love to have a full collection of those. But I'll tell you, there are some new things out there that I want to get, and I can't justify just accumulating and accumulating and accumulating. And I don't want to get too attached, especially to things that haven't been gifts to me or that are not on my very, very top rung of desirable knives. So I'm clearing some room, but all of these are in excellent shape. Most of them have never been used or have been used slightly, like this and this. Well, anyway, let's get into it and see if you want something out of this grouping here. First, starting from left to right, I'll start with the Liong CRKT Eraser, which I just think is an incredibly cool design. This knife is designed by Liong. I think this was his first production knife, and CRKT did an excellent job bringing it to market. It's got an AUS 8A blade. It's a very thin blade and hollow ground, so I mean this thing is slicey as heck. It's got this beautiful bolster construction with this nice contoured G10. It's a liner lock with the locks system here, but it's not an auto locks. It doesn't, so you can just kind of forget about this thing if you don't like it. But if you do like it, you push it forward and it makes the lock harder to it makes the lock impossible to disengage. This knife is in very good shape. I carried it a couple of times. I remember buying it right when they discontinued this, and sometimes I get that sort of panicked feeling like, oh my God, I've always really liked this knife, and now they're getting rid of it. I have to get it now. And that's what happened with this knife. And I got it and never really carry it. Pull it out every once in a while to think of how great it is. It's a 4-inch blade, and I don't know, for some reason, maybe it's the name, Eraser, but to me this looks like an assassin's knife. I just think it's beautiful, and I think it would make an excellent EDC. You're not going to be too precious with the steel, and but it would come back to true quite quickly because it's AUS 8. So I'm going to let this one go for 65 bucks because it's discontinued. It originally sold for 60, and for a while there I thought I might try and make some money on it, but that's not really the point of all this. So I'm going 65. That'll cover the shipping cost. 65 bucks on the Liong CRKT Eraser. Next I have the Emerson Horseman, which is the smaller version of the CQC8, the banana blade, as they affectionately have called it. This knife is an excellent specimen, especially for an Emerson knife. This is a 2013, and it flips out really nicely from the handle. Oftentimes with a pre-2016 Emerson, when they got rid of the two detents, the second detent, they're harder to snap open. This one has always just been a very, very excellent example of an Emerson knife. The only thing I didn't like about this knife was the obtuse chisel edge. I don't mind the chisel edge at all. I actually rather like it, but on this one, it was just a little obtuse, as I mentioned. So I convexed it and made it super, super sharp in the process. Now, when you look at it, you can see some of the lines from the fine sandpaper I used. But this thing is super sharp compared to what it was when I first got it. That was not a very good example of cutting, as this paper was already shredded. Yeah, a fine Emerson Horseman. This one is going for $105. $105. An excellent starter Emerson if you don't have one, or if you've been looking for a smaller CQC8, this is an awesome knife. Next is the Boker Lateralis, designed by J.B. Stout, whose knives are just incredible. If you don't follow him on Instagram, you should. He posts 1 million pictures a day, and they're all cool. He just keeps pumping out these really super awesome knives. Lateralus, named, I believe, after the Tool album and song. And to me, this knife looks like a beautiful Art Deco masterpiece. This looks like something you'd find in an old Miami hotel. That's just what I think. It's got incredible action, and you can open it 2 ways. You can use the flipper, it's quite fall shutty, or you can spidey flick it, middle finger flick it, using the fuller there. Actually, and you can also kind of grab it and slowly roll it out if you're around some people you don't want to offend or scare. And I just think this thing is a real looker. Unfortunately, I pretty much never carry it, though I have carried it before, as you can see from the scuff on the pocket clip. But this thing's a real find, and look at that. For a stainless steel frame knife, they really lightened it up very well by hollowing or milling out pockets on both sides, not just the show side, but also on the lock side. I don't know if you can see that there. But this is a nice, light, and very super smooth knife for a stainless steel knife. It just kind of feels like you're holding titanium. And it's got a little finger choil there. Mind you, if you have big, giant sausage fingers, I'm not so sure that's going to work very well for you. But I don't, and it does. So, and this jimping is awesome here. So, Boker Lateralis, that's going for $45 US. That's not doll hairs, that's dollars, okay? Let's be on the same page here. Next is my Benchmade Proper in red G10. This one I dropped once, as you might be able to see right there on the G10. In full disclosure, of course, I have my little fob on there. Oftentimes that means it's never leaving the collection. In this case, it sits perfectly, rides perfectly in the pocket, up vertically up and down like this when it has the fob on it. It just kind of tugs on the pants or it tugs on the inside of the pocket and keeps it like this instead of sliding horizontally and riding flat, which really bugs me. This is the really cool Wharncliffe blade, and this thing is very sharp, and it's S30 V steel, unlike most what do you call them, slip joint knives. So this is a tough little bugger here. No pun intended. You see there's a bug right there. See? The humor never stops. This knife is excellent. Got a little bit of jimping here. It's got a decent pull. Never had any problem with it closing. Then again, I haven't really used it much, but nice little walk and talk on it. Got the half stop. And some slip joint people really care about this. I do not. But the lock or the spring is flush when it's in the half stop position. So very nice knife by Benchmade. Sorry if the lighting is poor here. And that's going to go for $75. Benchmade Proper, $75. Over here we have a Tops Knives knife. This is the large version of the Cat, which is called the Interceptor. And it's a super stout, very concealable tanto. If you notice, the handle is nice and small, and I have noticed in my fixed blade kind of concealed carry, or let's just say in my fixed blade carry, I like a smaller handle because I don't like too much poking up through my shirt or poking out past my silhouette, because I notice it kind of snags on things, car doors, that kind of thing. So this small handle I think is really nice. Those grooves fit the hand really well, and it gives you a lot of space here. But in a compact package, this blade is 4 inches long, and it comes with this really nice kydex sheath that has a repositionable clip on the back. And I always kind of doubted, before I started getting into tops, kind of doubted whether this would work, but it works very well. If you turn it to any angle you want, 360 degrees, it will stay in that position, even if you're kind of like running around for me, in the backyard or on the battlefield. It is not going to swivel around. It's going to stay in the position you choose. Now, since I got this to carry kind of on an EDC basis, I made a kydex sheath to go with it that's just slightly more low profile, which is included in the price of $75. Yes, a tops knife for $75. All you have to do is get yourself a little attachment. I like the in the waistband sort of little belt things, but you could run paracord through there and get the same effect without having to find those things, which are easy to find. But the sheath, it fits nice and snugly in the sheath I made for it. So for 75 bucks, you get the tops knife and the sheath that comes with it and the sheath that I made for it. And finally today, we have the Condor Bushlore. This is a cool knife. Unfortunately, I don't really use it because I'm not much of a bushman guy. I'm not much of an outdoorsman. Even though I'd like to be, I'm just not at this stage in my life. I have used it before, a couple of times outside in the backyard and around the fire pit. It's got a nice, thin blade stock, which makes it quite a good cutter and quite a good slicer. And then it has this very stout and sharp Scandi edge here. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. You can baton with it, but you can also do real fine kind of, what do they call that? Like, well, slicey, curly, what are those little curly cues you make with wood? See, that's how much of an outdoorsman I am. This thing, it works great for that. You've got this hand-shaped handle and the brass pins, and it just feels great in hand. The Condor Bushlore. And I'm letting this one go for 45 bucks. It's got an excellent leather sheath, fits nicely in there, and you can even, not that you're going to carry it upside down, but it doesn't flop out of the of this sheath here. Of course, if you choose to buy either this or this, I will cut the cord off, and you can start fresh. I just decided to leave it on there, I don't know, just in case. And I think that's it. So I got the CRKT Eraser for $65. We got the Emerson Horseman with my own convex chisel edge on it for $105. We've got the Boker Lateralis JB Stout design for $45. Excuse me. We got the Benchmade Proper for $75, and the Tops Knife Interceptor for $75. Condor is $45. All right, check out the conditions in the description below, and I hope one of these tickles your fancy. All right, take care.